Hi, welcome to the Ellis Talker Show. I'm DV LeBron. Today I got a very special guest, first time on the show, the superintendent of Red Oak ISD, Miss Brenda Sanford. How are you doing, ma'am?
I'm doing fantastic. How about you?
I'm good. I'm good. I've been
Good.
wanting to venture on the Red Oak, and what better chance to break into Red Oak than the great superintendent of Red Oak ISD.
There you go. Well, I appreciate that. I am blessed to be here for sure.
There might be there's a lot of new houses, a lot of new people coming here. They may not know who you are, so I wanted you to go
Right.
ahead and kind of give an intro about you.
Okay. Fortunately, I am here beginning my fourth year as the superintendent here at Red Oak ISD. Originally born and raised in Canton, Texas. That's where the majority of my life was spent. I went to school there, married my sweetheart from there. We've been married for 38 years, have two grown children. One is a teacher in Canton, one is a resident doctor in Temple. I have four amazing grandchildren, three boys and a girl. And before I became an educator, I was a judge. So I'm a retired judge who fell in love with helping children and trying to guide them the right direction and jumped right into the education field.
Wow. I mean, a judge and then into education. That is
Yes.
those are very different fields. I mean, I'm in criminal justice, so
Right.
that's a very different career path, but you felt a
Yes.
calling. And I want to thank you for doing that because working with the kids can be challenging, and then
Yes.
especially running a district in an expanding area and
Right.
all the growth going on here. So, what kind of uh, culture have you set in these last few years that you've been here?
It has been a very interesting journey. I started here in November of 19. As you know, COVID hit shortly thereafter in March, and it shut us down. And we were shut down that year, and then kind of back and forth the following year. And we found very specific things that we needed to really work on as far as culture is concerned, because the parents did not have that relationship anymore with the school district because their students weren't at school. So we lost a lot of that really good partnership. So we've been very intentional on trying to reestablish that partnership and making sure that our parents are comfortable coming into the school, that we're partnering with them to send their children to the highest level possible. We're very family oriented at Red Oak ISD. We try to love each other through the hard times, support each other through all the times, and just truly be there for each other. So just a very open family culture that partners with everyone. It takes all of us pushing that bicycle up the hill to get it up the hill. So that's the type of culture that we're working on.
That's awesome. Now, do you feel that in your time as the superintendent, you've been transparent? What are some of the things that you've done to be transparent with the people of Red Oak?
Absolutely. That was something when I came that I discovered that there was some times that they felt like that had not occurred with the school district. I saw that the most on our first attempt to pass a bond, and we just did not have a trust factor going on with our community. When I would tell them something, they truly did not know whether to believe I was telling them the truth or not. So we have been very, very intentional in gaining input from our parents, our community, our business leaders, just all stakeholders. We implemented a lot of different things here that allow people to come in. We have parent universities where we're trying to team up with our parents on different hot topics to bring them in. We started live streaming everything so that they didn't feel like we were doing things behind closed doors. Our board meetings are live streamed now so that people can actually be involved in what's going on with the board. One of my favorite things that we started is coffee talks with the superintendent. We do those once a month. Normally 7:30, 7:45. We kind of do different times on different days, but it allows people to jump on a Zoom with me and with our principals and with other leaders in the school. And it is literally an open conversation platform. So if there's hot topics like today, we had ours, and we had hot topics like the parking passes, anything that we know that's a hot topic, I open it up. We hear their concerns. We work through anything. We get their input. I can tell you, I learn as much from them as they learn from me because they're very honest with me and I'm very honest with them. So that's one of my favorite things that we've implemented to try to really team up and have that open dialogue.
Yeah, and that's a very good thing to establish those relationship with the parents because they're sending
Yes.
their most trusted thing, their most beautiful and precious thing, their children,
Yes.
to those schools, to your schools that you're running. So
Absolutely.
I know that having that relationship is good.
Makes a difference.
You did mention something about trust, and you mentioned something about the bond. So I'll
Yes.
roll into that one.
Okay.
So I watched. I mean, I do follow the local sites and the local talk sites, and I know some people around, and I did follow the bond issue. I did follow
Yes.
it quite well. Matter of fact, I followed all 75 of them.
That's
so
a
so
lot.
yeah, I followed them, and that was something that I saw. I'm not a Red Oak resident. I'm just, I just do this show and cover Ellis County.
Right.
But one thing that I did see was that there was a trust issue. But
Yes.
now you got that bond passed, and there was a big concern about the junior high. The junior high I see mentioned all the time. So can you give us kind of a bond update?
Absolutely. I love talking about it because it did take us 3 times, to get that bond passed. And so we learned with each failed bond attempt the different things that the people were asking for us and they wanted from us. The first time we went with 4 different propositions, and people told us it was just too much. It was just way too much, too many things out there, and they wanted us to hone in and focus on the most important and most needed, which was the middle school. We are well over capacity at our current middle school, and so that was what we went for. Unfortunately, the voters have afforded us that opportunity. We have groundbreaking on October the 17th at 5:30 p.m. There is no parking out there right now, so we're going to be busing starting at 5 p.m. people from Shields Elementary. So we'll meet at Shields Elementary and bus people to and from. The reason we want to bus is because we do not want people parking in other people's driveways, on the streets, in the grass. We want to be good neighbors. We have touted that the whole time, that we want to be your neighbors. October 17th is not a day we're actually going to start erecting the school. We're still in planning process. We're still working with the city of Ovilla to make sure that we're meeting their guidelines, their standards, their requirements. That's an ongoing discussion with them to make sure we're doing everything we're supposed to be doing. We had the most wonderful meeting last week. We met with the landowners who actually are going, their properties touching the middle school property, because we wanted to be able to hear what their concerns are. We wanted to let them know this is who you're going to be contacting with the district. This is who you're going to be contacting with Joris, who is our construction manager at risk. These are the people that you will reach out to if there's a problem. It was one of the most beneficial meetings I believe I've ever been to regarding the middle school, because these are the people who truly were being able to voice their concerns. So one of the big concerns that came up was, we understand that you're going to be shedding water on our neighborhood. And, we asked the question, do you already have a drainage issue with the land? Some said yes, some said no. And we said, well, the wonderful thing about it is we have to meet the guidelines and the requirements, and we're going to have the detention ponds. So if you did have a problem with water coming off of that land, it's now going to be redirected and you won't have a problem. If you don't currently have a problem, you're still not going to. Issues about lighting, issues about sound, police presence, coming into their neighborhood and walking, sidewalks, all of those things are things that we address, the city of Ovilla will address. One of the main topics, if you followed any of the bond, was the roadway. We explained again that we will be doing turn lanes that go into and out of the middle school. We are queuing about 280 cars at one time off of the roadway on one side and 17 buses off of the other. They both have loops around so that it gets those cars off of the roadway. So all of those things that we're doing, we're able to communicate with the public and let them know. And I told them, I said, if you have a concern, please don't take it to social media, bring it to me. We really want to know what those concerns are so that we can address them and just be good neighbors. We intend to be good neighbors.
Yeah, and that is definitely good, because social media can get quite treacherous and
Yes.
ugly. But I'm glad that you're addressing some of those issues with those landowners that are going to be the neighbors of those
Right.
schools. I heard a lot of conversations about how the traffic is going to flow into that school. I mean, there was conversations about land, about traffic, about just about everything that was going on online.
Yes.
And so I'm glad that you were able to update about kind of where you guys are heading with that. What's the projected build of that?
We are August 2025 is still when we expect to open. We hope to truly start turning dirt and doing things by first of the year so that we can get that. We've already got some of our things going out for bid so that we can get all that done. We have sold a big portion of the bonds, came in at a really good rate. We were able to really watch the interest rates and catch them when they were low. And so we were able to go ahead and sell some of those bonds. So we're drawing interest on that money that's sitting there waiting for us to be able to pay off some of the actual fees that are going on. Oh, there it is. There's that beautiful middle school. You can actually tell if you're coming in off of Westmoreland, you can see where on the right-hand side, there's the large loop that's where we will queue the cars that are drop-offs and pickups. And then on the left-hand side is where we will queue the buses. You'll notice at the very back is where the actual track and football field will be. It will not be a Billy Goodloe Stadium. It's not anything like that. It will have seating for middle school people who come to watch that, but it's nothing in comparison to a big stadium. We will have the down lights that actually go down to the field, so they're not projecting out across the subdivisions. Same thing with the sound system. We will not have a big sound system like we do at Goodloe. It's going to be more of a portable sound system where those that are there watching the spectators will be able to hear what's going on, but shouldn't project outside of there. Just lots of great things. If you notice on the interior of that building, you see 3 cutouts. Those are the outdoor learning areas that we have, and several different things that are wonderful about that. Not only does it afford opportunity for outdoor learning, but it allows all the teachers to have a window. So they're safe and secure, but they have windows. Even if they're on an interior room now, the teachers will have a window. When I taught school, that was a rite of passage. You had to be at a school for many years to be able to promote up and get a window. So that it offers natural light, lots of really great things there. We did something in the back that was a big savings to the taxpayer as we were trying really hard just to really narrow things down. If you'll notice where the track is, there are no outdoor restrooms. That's because they'll be using the restrooms and concessions that are at the gym. So those will be dual purpose. They'll use the same ones that are on the inside. We'll be able to lock that school down to where it's only accessible to the gymnasium from the outside. And they'll be using the same restrooms and concessions as the gym uses. So we were able to save some money there as well.
Wow, it is really a beautiful school.
Yes.
What are some of the priorities on that school, real quickly, before I move on, that you and the board wanted to kind of, what did the board express to you they'd like to see in this new school?
Of course, the main priority is always safety. So anytime that you're building a new building now, you have to do the storm shelter. So it does have the practice gym is serving as the storm shelter. So we do have that. It's going to have all the bells and whistles, just like our other campuses, as far as the cameras. Safety was the big priority. It's going to have the, like I said, we were intentional about those outdoor areas are secured, so they're safe there. So safety was the number one priority. They also wanted equity in programming, so that if they have a choir, of course, at the one middle school, they wanted at the second middle school. We know the buildings will be different. It's going to be a plus if you're in the old one, in the fact that that used to be a high school. So you're going to have a bigger cafeteria, and you're going to have a bigger band area, bigger choir area. So those type of things at the old middle school are the plus. They're going to have the same programs at the new one, but not as large of an area, but it's new. So you're going to have bigger versus new. So but they're going to have the same programs as far as offering the same things. So equity and programming. Safety, those were probably the two main things that we looked at. There was a concern that, there's a teacher shortage. How are you going to staff it? And we explained that we're not going to totally rehire a brand new staff. If we're splitting the kids, a lot of those teachers are going to be moving over with those kids. If we have 4 teachers at the old middle school in 6th grade ELAR, we may only need 2, so 2 will go to the new one. Now, there are some outliers. We got to have a new principal. I have not figured out how to spread Rob Waller into 2 different middle schools, so we'll definitely have to have an additional principal. We'll have to have additional police officer. There are those outliers like that, but it was just trying to be the board wanted us to make sure we had what we needed, but that we were very, very conscious of the taxpayer dollar. We want to do it right. And that's what the board wants. They want to do it right.
And that's good. Now that you mentioned the taxpayer dollar, you recently passed the budget, or the district recently passed the budget.
Yes.
I kind of skimmed through it. I mean, I'm not a professional at these numbers. They can
Right.
get quite extensive. But I saw that the tax rate was lowered. I
Yes.
saw that there was a little bit of increase in revenue. I saw that the property values went up, and
Yes.
I saw that the state is going to take away some money.
Mhm.
I saw several things in that budget. So can you just talk about some of the priorities you had in this budget, this 23-24
Absolutely.
budget?
Absolutely. Of course, the majority of any school district budget is on staffing because we have to have those teachers in the classroom. So the majority of our budget is definitely spent on staffing, getting our teachers in there and getting them the support that they need with paraprofessionals and administrators that they need in order to handle it. We prioritize the budget after that. Dr. Johnston is absolutely amazing. He's our CFO. He works with every department to make sure that the money is available for the kids in the programming that they need. But even though he offers that money there, he is he's very tight with that money as well. He makes sure that the priorities are there. We always have a plan going forward as far as what do we need to spend our capital project funds on in the event. I'll give you an example. In the event that we are not fully staffed in one area, and so we have leftover money from that 199 line item, what can we do at the end of the year that we can actually pay for and do ourselves? So this last year, with the teacher shortage, we were definitely not ever fully staffed, so we did save some money. And so one of the priorities that we had was getting good HVAC systems in, and that's very expensive. But we were able to take some of the funds that were left over, put it into capital project, and actually do new HVAC systems. We were actually able to enhance some of our safety and security measures. We were able to do some more Chromebooks for students and for staff to get the technology up to date. So we're very, very strategic. If you ever come to my office and you want to take a peek in my conference room, I have a whole wall that has every one of our budget items on there. And we, every week in cabinet, every Tuesday, we talk about these are the needs we have. Where does it fall on our 5-year plan? Is it something we can do this year? Do we need to spread it out over a couple of years? What is the plan? So we are very, very conscious of those taxpayer dollars, and we use them to benefit our children. That's what it's for. We're not about hoarding up a bunch of money and making a massive fund balance. We want to have that fund balance there to fall back on should we need it. But we also believe in spending those dollars currently for our students as we get them.
How's your debt doing?
How's who? Our
How's your
debt?
debt? Yeah.
Debt is wonderful. That's one thing I love about Red Oak ISD. Dr. Johnston at the business office works with the board. Whenever we do have extra funds available in the INS pocket of money, that interest and sinking fund, whenever we have money left over in there, the board is very diligent about paying those bonds off early. Because if we can make a $250,000 payment early, it could save $40,000 in interest, and that adds up. So our that's why we could do this bond without any increase in the tax rate, because our bonding debt is low enough with our collection rate that we're able to do it without an increase in taxes. So very diligent about that, and I do love that about our board. They're very, very big on if we can save the taxpayers $30,000-$40,000 by paying this little bit off early, let's do it.
Did you look for that in the budget when you submitted it to the board? Like maybe let's not get this or let's not do that to save money?
Absolutely. I mean, we have we have requests that come in. Like I said, on my board in there, I probably already have about 30 requests that have come in from different departments. It's kind of like a wish list. And so we take that wish list and we go, what has turned to necessity? It may have been a wish last year, but right now it's a necessity and we can bump it up and we can move it. But we are very, very, very conscious of every dollar spent. I can tell you our departments are amazing. That's one thing I learned from them as well. Just because the high school has X amount of dollars doesn't mean they're looking at that and they're going to spend it all before the end of the year. They only get what they need, and then they turn that money back over to the district. Every department is amazing about doing that. I've been in districts where I've got another $2,000 I better spend it this year, and that's not how this district is. They put that money back into where you can pay that debt off early, or you can actually do some of the jobs you need to do.
Okay. Now, going into school issues.
Yes.
There was COVID had a major effect on
Yes.
how there was major learning loss, and there's
Absolutely.
still. I know that you guys are still in the middle of fighting that, trying to get these
Yes.
things back up. Um, how is Red Oak doing with that, with trying to get these students back up and even raising these test scores?
Yes, they're doing a great job. There are great things going on at Red Oak ISD. I'm just going to kind of highlight our high school because it's the most recent one on my mind. I was just looking through some of their data. The high school on their EOCs, which is their end of course STAR exams, they literally showed growth and went up in their percentages on approaches on across the board. They were just really, really showing that improvement. They met the goals that we had. When it comes to our STAR tests, we have different levels. We have our approaches, which is like our passing, our meets, and our masters. So what Red Oak ISD this year is focusing on, since we are already meeting some of that approach growth, we want to bump it up, and we want to really, really pull our kids even higher and get them into that meets and masters category. So that is our focus this year. We call it tiered instruction. Like tier one instruction is everyone in the classroom. Everyone's sitting there and everyone's getting the instruction. We're bumping that up. We don't want to just bump it up for those that are getting extra tutoring. We want every student in every classroom to get the best tier one instruction that they can get. If we do that, we know it's going to bump all of our kids up to where we can hit that meets and masters. The A through F accountability system has thrown us for a loop. As you mentioned, there's a litigation lawsuit going on right now because when the scores came out, we were truly celebrating. Like I said, those EOCs came up and I'm like, oh, we're going to bump our grade up. We're going to do so well. And when the projections came out based on the new rules after the fact, it actually dropped us 2-letter grades. And I mean, that's a blow. That's a big blow when you think you're going to bump up and you actually come down based on a new system. So we're anxious to see how that works out. The preliminary hearing is Tuesday in Austin at 9 a.m. on the A through F system. So I'm going to be down there. I'm anxious to see how what they decide on that. Are they going to come back and give us a fighting chance and give us the rules ahead of time? Don't give them after the fact, so that way we know what we're playing, the game that we're playing. So,
and just FYI to the people, your representative, Brian Harrison, is actually on the education committee.
yes,
So, I mean, those are things that you can bring up to him just by calling him, texting him. He is available. So make sure
absolutely.
you
Reach
talk to
out.
him if you're concerned. Yeah, reach out to him.
Reach out.
So, the other population that was really affected by the learning loss is special education. Now,
Absolutely.
I don't have a lot of experience or knowledge of your district. I'd like to improve on that.
Yes.
So talk to me about special education. Like if a parent right now is getting ready to put their kid in, I know it's a little late in the game, but they got a special needs kid. What
Mhm.
can they expect from Red Oak ISD?
We have a great special education department. I will tell you, across the state of Texas, if you start looking into the special education teachers, that is the hardest hit across the state as far as staffing right now. Diagnosticians, it's a struggle to get those. Occupational therapists, it's a struggle to get those. Physical therapists, all of those different positions are very, very hard to get. What we saw with COVID was a lot of those who used to work for school districts have learned they can contract now, and they can make more money going as contracted services for several districts. So there's a struggle there. That's one thing we're working really hard on. We have a brand new special education director. She is amazing, Shanna Owen. She's working hard with our teachers. We're trying to make sure that we have enough people in the classrooms to support. We are working on the behavior module as well, because sometimes in special education, it may be more of a behavioral than a disability. And so if we can address those specific things and have the right people and the right curriculum and programs in place, we can actually get those students back out into the classroom. That's our goal. Our goal is always to have the student in that least restrictive environment. If they can be in a classroom with their peers and have support in the classroom and be successful, that's our goal. So I think you would be very pleased with the special education department. Do we have room for improvement? 100%. And we're always working towards that improvement. Also, one of the problems that you're going to encounter, not just at Red Oak ISD, but in the entire state, is because of COVID, referrals got behind. So where in the past you could do a referral for special education and it would just pop right through and populate and you'd be servicing the kids. Now you've got a backlog of referrals because everybody's short on diagnosticians, on the testers and things like that. So I would say that's probably the one thing that I really want to work on the most at Red Oak is catching up on those referrals and making sure we're servicing those kids as quickly as possible and getting them in that least restrictive environment as quickly as possible.
unfortunately for special education isn't for lack of a better term, it isn't the sexy thing. It's
Right.
always underfunded. It's always
Yes.
there's always things that are very much needed. Just one last thing on special education. There was a lot of talk, and there's been bills that have come up that talked about restraints on special education kids
Mhm.
and ISS and the detrimental nature to some of them.
Yes.
Does Red Oak ISD do restraints?
Uh, as far as if you're talking about CPI restraint, we do if it's a danger to the student. We have to do whatever we have to. If a student is running, if they're fleeing, then we have to absolutely do whatever we have to keep the student safe. So we have that in place, but we have the people that are trained for that. If you do restrain a student and you're not trained, you have a certain number of days you have to become trained on that. So that's only used when, for safety reasons, absolutely necessary. That's when we do that. Underfunded, absolutely. We're always looking for ways that we can utilize the IDOE money, all the monies that are given to us from the federal. A lot of those have strings attached, as you well know. We also try very hard to keep up with the mandates. And just like you're talking about, unfunded mandates come along on things that we have to do. We do have a lot of things in place. I love that we have different rooms that students are allowed to go to decompress. On the ISS, taking them out of their environment, or DAEP. Of course, if it's an offense related to their disability, then there's a different avenue. You don't go to the punishment phase, you go to the rehabilitation phase. So we're very, very conscious of that and trying to really work with our kids. If they're are pulled out into ISS or they are pulled out into DAEP, we have a program called Sweet 360 that is going to be pushing in some transitional things. Like if it was for vaping, if it was for fighting, we're going to actually have lessons that we can partner with the parents with at home as well. So we're going to be teaching that transitional thing to get back into their classroom, because I think that's sometimes where we miss the boat. You have something that happens, you mess up, and
Mm-hmm.
one of my things is you mess up, you fess up, you pay up. And I'm an old country girl, so that's one of my
Mm-hmm.
things. So the kid messes up, they confess it, and they do their time and consequence. But sometimes then we just throw them right back in, and we
Yeah.
don't really teach them what could you have done differently not to have that consequence. That's one of our focuses across the district this year, not just with special ed but with all students, is how can we get you to transition, realize what you did, what could I do differently, and what choice could I have made that would not have landed me in a disciplinary action.
I
So
like that. Yeah, I mean, and I like that you talked about the disability related things because
yes,
often it could be mistaken for just behavioral. And as you know, ADHD,
yes,
dyslexia, all those things have manifestations of behavioral.
absolutely,
It's frustrating for a kid to see the world backwards. So
yes, it is,
there are a lot of things that go into that. So thank you for doing that. I
yes,
appreciate that as a special needs dad. Um, the other thing that hits these schools is bullying. But
yes.
I've heard that there has been bullying at the middle school. I heard that's been an issue. So how could you address that to the parents going forward, and what are some of the things you've done so far?
Okay. We implemented a program. You may have heard of it. I don't know, but we implemented a program last year called Stop It. And it is actually a anonymous system where someone can go in and anonymously report. A parent can report, a student can report, and it immediately goes. It's dispatched out to different layers of our district. It goes to our police chief, it goes to our student service director, it goes to our principals and APs, and then immediately they're working on a threat assessment and they're going in there saying what is it that needs to be done so we can close it out quickly. Because that's what we noticed with any reports of bullying, that there was so many different disciplinary things going on campuses on a daily basis that sometimes they might get caught in the lull, or it might take a few days to get it taken care of. This program has proven to be very effective. If it's a bullying thing that goes in immediately, it is in action. People are pulling people in. We're looking at the different things, going through all the process to see what's going on. We have many things that we handle it that way. We're trying to teach the students how to cohabitate together. So that's part of our new program, as well as not just punishing and removing them from each other, which we do that as well. We call them stay away agreements. But how can you come together and cohabitate and realize what you have done? So rehabilitative on top of disciplinary is our goal with the bullying problem.
And that's something that I'm sure the parents love that you address, because that I see that often, those posts, and some of those parents, they're just so scared for their children,
Yes.
and that's kind of upsetting.
Right.
So unfortunately, I could speak to you forever, but
Me
I
too.
gotta try to wrap it up. I mean, I'm getting some good info here, but I wanted to talk to you about CTE, and then I'm going to give you the mic to speak to the parents of Red
Awesome.
Oak. What's going on at ROISD with CTE?
We have a lot of great things going on. Of course, we are very fortunate to have TSTC in our backyard. Our technical college is literally sitting behind the high school, so we have a lot of great things going on there. We have the electrical program is really getting a lot of attention. A lot of students are getting involved in that. We also have our architectural program, our drafting and architectural program that has really taken off. And we actually were excited because we have a pathway now where those students can get a level 1 certificate. And we're working on right now how they can get their associate's degree in that pathway. So lots of great things there. Gaming is something that's brand new that's come up on CTE. Kids are really interested in gaming. It's a hot topic. Lots of different, like I said, drafting, construction, mechanical. We have a fantastic mechanical program, automotive mechanics, we have a lot of kids in. We have a vet tech program. We have our medical science programs where we have a mock hospital. We actually have the beds that have the mannequins that actually you can hear their heartbeat. You can monitor their pulse. We have a lot of different things going on, and it's growing. Not only because the state wants it to grow, but because Red Oak has been intentional about that. Again, having TSTC in our backyard is huge. Our CTE director is really going out into the community. We're fortunate to have the aerospace, Bombardier and Carbon here in our district as well.
Wow.
So we're really excited about that. We're partnering with them as well to offer some aerospace things. So tons of great things. I could talk to you for hours about CTE and the different
And
opportunities here.
that's a subject that's near and dear to my heart. I've been a tradesman for 22 years,
Right.
and it's provided a great living for my family, and it's something that is in big demand. They call it the graying of the trade. There's old guys like me that are still doing it, but we're getting ready to start moving on,
Right.
and like the average boiler tech is 60 plus.
Wow.
I mean, it's the average tradesman are in their 40s, like
Hmm.
me. So it's needed in the community, and then not all kids are meant for college. I mean,
Right.
that wasn't my deal. I mean, I had to go off to the military, and the trades were for me. And you could save a lot on the student loan problem.
Hmm.
When you're going into the trade, so it could work for a lot of kids. So thank you
Absolutely.
for having that CT program. There's got to be a different. The world is dynamic. It's changing. School can't
Yes.
just be one thing and one thing only.
They're not
So,
cookie cutters. Our kids are not cookie cutters.
no, no, people are they got so many different things about them. So now I'll give you the mic and shut up. That's a very hard thing for me to do. That's why I'm the
Me
Ellis
too.
talker. So I'm gonna give you the mic and kind of update people what's kind of going on, the cool stuff, the little current events, and we'll
Okay.
close out.
Awesome, awesome. Well, we've got a lot of fantastic things going on right now. This is homecoming week for us. So Thursday at the pep rally at 3:50 at the high school, we're going to be announcing our Dukes and Duchesses for our underclassmen. We have a parade at 2 o'clock on Friday that will go start behind the high school and go all the way to Billy Goodloe Stadium. We'll end there. And now we will crown the queen at 6:30 p.m. on Friday night, right before the football game. So make sure you get there early. We do expect some rain coming in, so we could have a parking problem. So we have a backup if it does rain and we can't park in the field, that we're going to be busing people from the high school. So make sure and stay in tune with our website and our Facebook page so you can have that information. Our football team is undefeated. We are currently ranked number 7 for Texas football on Dave Campbell. We're excited about that. Our volleyball is in second place going into the second half of district. We have cross country is going to be having their district meet on Monday in Crandall. We've got tennis going on, golf going on. We have swimming going on. Girls softball, fall softball just started. So lots of things going in the athletic world. We also have tons of things going in the fine arts world. Our band just placed 3rd in their recent competition on Saturday. So we're looking for great things for them. We've had people inducted into the International Thespian Association. So that's great for our theater arts, choirs advancing. We just have so many great things going in fine arts as well. Academics, we have AP scholars with distinctions, capstone awards, amazing things going on with those kids. It is National Principal Appreciation week. So make sure that you reach out to your principals. We have some of the very best of the best out there. Education Foundation, if you're interested in any of our events going on, lots of things, reach out to Karen Anderson on those. We have a lot of great things going on at Red Oak ISD. We just want you to partner with us because we want to partner with you. We're all about parents, students, community, and business leaders, everyone in our community. Please come on down to Red Oak ISD because we welcome you to come in and give us your viewpoint and give us your ideas.
Superintendent Sanford, it has been such a pleasure talking with you. I hope that we can do this again and talk about some of the other good stuff going on in your district. I appreciate you giving me the time and the people and parents of Red Oak the time to answer these questions on your time. It's getting kind of late here. It's time for dinner, and it's that. But I appreciate it. Can you stick around after the show real quick?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.